Hi, I'm Lina. My role in the organization is closely tied to operation. I lead a team that deals every day with urgent tasks, that deadlines, and many unforeseen events. For a long time, my leadership was very reactive, solving quickly, keeping everything running, putting out fires, but that without realizing it made me less accessible. I became a king of emergency. Something everyone came to me, and I responded, but I didn't fully listen. Recently, I experienced a situation that made me stop. An employee told me that colleague no longer listens, she just commands, and that hit me hard because it made me wonder if I was become like that too. Since that I've been trying to change. Now when there are conflicts, I don't jump into resolve them immediately. Instead of separating or design for others, I invite them to listen to rebuild trust between them, and it works. I identify with the role of disturbance manager and also listen leader. I am in the middle of tensions, but I am also bridge, and that bridge is only useful if it's firm but flexible leadership. Learned isn't about having all the answer. It's about creating the space for others to find theirs, and that transforms the team.
Hi, I'm Malaria. Within our organization's structure, I found a strategic role. That means I must see the big picture, make key decisions, align the team with each quarter's priorities, and ensure those priorities are actually executed. I've always been very clear when communicating. I strive to clearly define objectives and structure information. But recently, I noticed something disturbing. After a meeting where I clearly outlined the new quarterly goals, several team members asked me questions a few days later as if we'd never discussed the topic. That disconcerted me because it wasn't a technical communication problem. It was a deeper problem, one of connection. I realized that even though I talk, I don't always generate openness. That unintentionally, I can be perceived as someone who only gives orders, and that made me review my leadership style. I tend to lead from structure, from logic, from control, but in that eagerness, I've looked at something essential, the initiative of others. A clear example was Luis from the legal department. He came to propose an improvement to shorten processes. He had data, arguments, and prior experience. But I confess that while he was speaking, I was already mentally preparing with I wouldn't work. I interrupted him several times, and afterward I felt bad because I realized that my need to be in control dampened his enthusiasm. That led me to rethink everything. I started working on a skill that doesn't come easily to me, listening without interrupting, leaving space, retraining the urgent to say, we already tried that, or that's not going to work. Because I understand that if there's no room for error, there's no room for innovation. My main role is to allocate resources. I decide which efforts to prioritize and where to focus. I also act as a spoken person, represent the theme both upwards and downwards. But I've realized that if the role isn't combined with inspiring leadership, it becomes cold and distant. So now I'm learning to balance strategic with closeness.
Hi, I'm Sofia. My position without the team isn't defined by a traditional hierarchy. I'm not the final decision maker or the one leading a specific area, but I have learned that it's possible to have a profound influence without being at the top of our organizational chart. My leadership is born from observation, from listening, from the ability to ask questions that invite you to stop and look beyond the immediate task. When I face conflicts or tension in the team, I don't go in and solve them right away. I prefer to ask. I try to understand the emotional context, the story behind it. My strategy is to give space, not to impose, because I have seen that people grow when they feel that their voice matters, that they have room to decide, to make mistakes, to try again. According to Mintzberg, I fit the role of organizational culture manager and symbolic leader. I'm not the one who signed the documents, but I'm the one who takes care of the way we relate to each other. In the small gestures, in how we give feedback, in how we react to error, in whether we ask for help or whether we shut down. I have learned that people don't follow the most charismatic or the most demanding. They follow the one who stands firm in his values, the one who leads through silent but current action. In a fast-paced world, leading with intention is a revolutionary act. And for me, that's the way. Less control, more trust. Less order, more inspiration.
Hi, girls. Thank you for coming. I needed to talk to you about this.
What happened?
Today I saw something that left me unsettled. Jimmy from the operations team had been stuck on an issue for a while. I asked him to talk to Andrea, but he replied, she doesn't listen anymore. She just gives orders.
That hurts because it probably feels that way. What did you do?
I offered him help, but he shut down. And I keep thinking, when did we stop being approachable?
I noticed something too. This week, I gave a guideline about new priorities for the quarter. Very clear. 2 days later, four people came to ask me the same thing, as if I hadn't said anything.
When that happens, it's not lack of attention, it's lack of connection.
Or trustworthy. Can you imagine how they see us? The ones who hand down orders from above.
So, what do we do? More frequent meetings, workshops, 3 day service?
That helps, but the urgent thing is to review how we are acting. Are we serving the team or demanding that the way serve us?
Sometimes I feel like an emergency operator, putting out fires all day long, and that makes me react more and connect less.
We often confuse leading with solving everything, and that leaves no room for the other to grow.
Something curious happened to me today. Luis, from the legal department, came to propose an idea to shorten processes. He had data, proposals, and had already tried it elsewhere. But I confess, as soon as he started, I was about to tell him why it wouldn't work. Not at all. I interrupted him twice. Afterward, I felt bad. I realized I hadn't given him any space. He wanted to control, and that kills initiative.
I am going to remember that. Wanting to be in control extinguishes confidence.
People don't follow the one who shoots the loudest, but the one who inspires the most. And that is done in small things. Ask for forgiveness when you make a mistake, accepting an idea that is not yours. Be patient, even if you are in a hurry.
This week I faced a conflict between two colleagues. They asked me to step in as the boss, and my first instinct was to assign new task, separate them, but I stopped myself.
So, what do you do?
I asked them what they needed to trust each other again. I gave them space to talk, I just listened. In the end, they came up with a plan to reorganize. Name saves, I didn't have to decide for them, just facilitate.
That it's too late, not imposing, guiding without invading.
And what do we do with those who only move when there's pressure? How can influence team?
It depends. Some only react to fear, but true respect only comes from consistency, not fear.
And how do you earn that?
Being the same person all the time. Let the team know that you are not there to comment, but to serve, not from weakness, but from example.
Like when you get up early, not to supervise but to support.
Exactly. Or when you accept that you don't know something and ask for help without losing leadership.
So those change start with us.
Where else? If we only demand without transforming ourselves, nothing changes.
I commit to not giving immediate solutions. I am going to ask first, how would you solve it?
I'm going to listen without interrupting, even if it's hard.
I let the team decide the priority of a project, even if it's not my order. From action, but with intention.
And from a strategic perspective, but without losing focus.
I used to believe that learning was about solving everything, but today I understand that learning is about letting go so that others can grow. Trust is built when we make room for others to shine.
Leading isn't controlling or correcting, it's to inspire by example, because through authority it's not imposed, it's earned step by step on a daily basis.
I thought leadership was about having answers, but sometimes true leadership is asking the right questions. Today, I chose to listen, not to answer, but understand.